Last time on Twisted Nick, we took a look at the 3 Ninja Turtles games on the NES, but now we're going to move on to some other Turtles games, starting with Turtles in Time. It came out in the arcades in September of 1991 and became Konami's best-selling arcade title, and for good reasons. It added new and elaborate gameplay elements to the art of beating the living crap out of everyone in sight. It's such an awesome game. So what did they do? Well, they ported it onto the Super Nintendo as Turtles in Time and on the Sega Genesis as the Hyperstone Heist. So first we're going to take a look at the Super Nintendo version. Oh man, if you like the arcade version of Turtles in Time, then you'll be even more satisfied with this one. The SNES version expanded upon the arcade version of Turtles in Time by putting additional stages and gameplay modes. The gameplay is really fun and addicting. My friend and I sat down and played this for over 2 hours, and we were still hooked. It's one of those games that never gets old, and once you start playing it, you can't ever put your controller down. It's a lot like Battletoads or Double Dragon. Actually, to be honest, this game puts those ones to shame big time. They did a great job with the graphics. They're practically on par with the arcade game, except not quite as detailed. The stages themselves are colorful and bright for the most part. The sound effects are so awesome. They add a really satisfying effect when you hit things. It's so awesome. But the best part about the sound is definitely the music. It fits the mood perfectly. It's really catchy and cool to hear while you're going around beating all these things up. This game is perfect. I can't even explain it. It's just so awesome. Overall, it's one of the best games ever to be released for the Super Nintendo. I mean, what more can I say? It's so awesome. But now, we're going to take a look at the Hyperstone Heist on Sega Genesis. Alright, this is the Hyperstone Heist on the Sega Genesis. It's a really good game, but it's nowhere near as fun as Turtles in Time on SNES. The controls are similar to the one on SNES, except there are a few things that you can't do in this one. For example, you can no longer throw enemies toward the screen. The graphics are pretty good. Again, they're not as good as Turtles in Time on Super Nintendo. On that one, it's brighter and more colorful, and uses special zooming effects in some areas, but the Genesis includes more background layers, it's faster, and clearer animation frames, and overall faster gameplay. Both games share nearly the same soundtrack and sound effects, but the songs play faster in the Hyperstone Heist. But overall, this is one of the greatest games on the Sega Genesis, so definitely check it out if you own one. Okay, this is TMNT Tournament Fighter. Basically, it's like Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, if you replace the characters with TMNT. It's a pretty good game, though sometimes it's a bit unfair. If you have Donatello, you can continually press the button for his nunchuck spear and just cheap out and win. That's not fair, but it's still fun though. The control is pretty good. The moves are easy to do, and the button setup is okay. So I don't really have any complaints on that section. The graphics are okay, but again, I don't really have much to say about them though. Overall, this is a pretty fun game. I found it extremely enjoyable when you play it at parties and whatnot. So anyway, check it out. Well, that's all the Ninja Turtles games that we're going to look at. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.